All right, we are back for another wonderful episode of Off Trail with Luke and Chandler. I'm Luke.
I'm Chandler.
And this is Off Trail. We have a little bit of a different episode here. If you've been following along for the past couple of weeks, you know we are in the height of Park Madness season. The games are a lot of fun right now. Mm-hmm. And the episodes that we're doing throughout this little 2-month stretch or so is all kind of dedicated to the national parks. And today is no different. We're going to be talking about a little bit of park etiquette, how you should behave if you go to a park, how you can be most respectful of the park itself and all the other people that are there. And we're going to play a little game at the end, a little overrated, underrated. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think maybe some shots will be called and tempers will flare, but we'll see.
No.
It'll be fun. So looking forward to that. But first, I want to make sure we take care of the show. If you are listening to this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. It's the best thing you can do for us. We really appreciate you doing that. Leaving a comment, especially if you have other things you'd like to add to this conversation, because this is not a conversation just for us. Make sure other people are involved and can offer their own insight as well. But we're also on all major podcasting platforms as well, if you prefer audio only. So go find us there. Leave a 5-star review, if you would. Kindly. We'd appreciate that. It means a lot. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. Anything else we forgot?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. With that, we're going to move into the episode. Like I mentioned today, we want to talk about when you go to a national park, and we've been there, 3 of us, and you see some people who aren't being very respectful of everyone else or of the park itself. And the reason these places are taken care of and designated national parks is because we want to try and protect them and take care of them as best we can. Because undoubtedly, if we didn't give them this kind of distinction, they would not get run amok, but they would be damaged and destroyed to some degree more than they are now. And that's the whole purpose of the national park system. Mm-hmm. And so when you go to these places, you got to try to, keep that in mind, that these are special places and it requires a certain set of behaviors, and attitudes that you should try and, keep to.
Yeah.
During your visit, if you want to make the most out of it, make sure you protect the place and keep it in a good state for everyone else and their trips and all future trips as well. So I think in general, the conversation is going to revolve around this idea of leave no trace. Mm-hmm. This is an outdoors principle. It's really a set of principles that we're going to talk about how to best take care of a place. And when it comes to being in a national park, I think one of the first things that a lot of people think of is being out on trails, or camping, because it's all part of the outdoor experience itself. And one of the big things you should make sure you're doing, especially in these national parks, is staying on trails.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're hiking. Now, if you go to leave no trace, I don't know what their actual address is online. Never looked at it, but if you search leave no trace, you'll find a website for it. But the principles on there actually state something along the lines of stay on and make sure you're camping on durable surfaces. Mm-hmm. Now, this would look like established trails for sure. That's why the park is there, to make sure there's specific trails you can go on to see different things. But also, if a good example of this actually is in Arches. If you go do the Fiery Furnace, there is like a trail you can follow, but they also tell you, hey, you can kind of go wherever you want, but stay on rock, because rock is a good durable surface. Mm-hmm. And it's important because if you go off trail into the brush, do some bushwhacking, as it's in our name, you're going to start to destroy the places a little bit.
Yeah.
And as we learned doing some of our volunteer service stuff last year with the Forest Service, if you start going off trail, you're going to kind of naturally create a little social trail, is what it's called. A little trail that will form and get beat down that other people will seem like, oh, I could go there. Mm-hmm. And it's not designed to be there. It's not designed for that kind of traffic, which will help destroy the area over time.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like all these little, trails are designed and set up in a way to damage the ecosystem as least possible as they can. And that's ultimately the thing. Like when you see, no matter how small the area, even if it's just like a little strip with some random bushes or something on it, like that's a little ecosystem. And we don't want to destroy those, as much as we can. So it's important to keep that in mind. Yeah,
because it has far-reaching effects beyond just your experience there.
Yeah.
Sure, you'd like to go see the cool spot if you just get 100 feet off the trail over there, but in a national park, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
And again, keep in mind, if there are like good rock sections you can go on, that might be a different story. But say in a lot of these different forested parks, you know, that might not be the case. And so you really got to make sure you're respectful about that and helping to take care. Because the whole idea of Leave No Trace is make sure that you can go in and come out and people basically can't tell you were ever there.
Yeah.
Because that is what helps best protect and maintain the park areas we go to.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of a leave it better than you found it kind of thing. So.
Exactly.
But I think also, especially with this staying on trails concept, it one of the main reasons it's there too is kind of a safety thing. I mean,
for sure.
A really good example of this is all the videos you see online of people trying to walk on the hot springs in Yellowstone National Park or on the geyser beds and stuff.
Stay on the boardwalks.
Yeah. Like their trails exist in places, again, for a reason. And a lot of times it's a safety thing. So they don't want you falling off thing or falling into a boiling body of water.
The last thing you want to do is fall into an active geyser.
No. I've heard if you fall into a geyser, I mean, you basically, I mean, maybe not immediately, but you'll die very fast and your body will be disintegrated within like 24 hours.
That doesn't sound fun.
No, that's how much like bacteria and heat and everything that is in those geysers. So they're not places to go walk around on.
Yeah, it's a lot of these places are not places to play around.
Yeah.
This is not a playground, a jungle gym. This is a national park. This is a very big, important thing for a lot of people like us.
Yeah.
And we don't want to see it get destroyed in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
that.
And I think another thing too, and this will kind of tie into everything, every, different concept that we talked about. But a lot of these places, like take Glacier National Park, for example, are really like sacred places to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Like the Native Americans, for example. And, respect that, like you don't want somebody coming into your house and some place that you hold sacred and trashing things and, walking around where you're not supposed to. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that's really just kind of the overarching theme around this whole conversation is that these places are bigger than us. Like, yeah, we want to go and get our awesome photos, have a cool experience, but we got to keep in mind, like, we're not the only ones there.
Yeah.
We're not the only ones who have ever been there or will ever go.
Yeah.
And we got to treat it that way
and
make sure that future generations can come visit and do the exact same things we got to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like some of these places people have lived, like Glacier, again, for a good example, like people have lived in the Glacier National Park area for thousands of years. And it's only been a national park for, I don't know, maybe 100 years.
I believe it was 1910 I looked up today.
There you go. Yeah, 110, 114 years. And that's really small. That's a really small little window, the time that people have been in and interacting with that area of the states. So,
yeah. So it just goes to show, please do your best to show respect. And that's why we're talking about this today. We have a few other things that we'll be talking about in relation to this idea of Leave No Trace and showing respect to the parks and the park goers. The second one we'll talk about is making sure you dispose of waste properly.
Yeah.
This first and foremost, is not leaving trash on the trails. You might go out on a hike and have little Cliff Bar, some kind of granola bar of some sort, candy bar, anything like that. You have a wrapper to it. Don't just throw it on the ground. Like, bring it back. Plastic water bottles, same thing.
Yeah.
Like all these things, you can't just leave sitting out in these places.
Yeah.
Like there's a trash can somewhere. It might be 3 miles back from where you started on the hike, but you got to bring it out.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Like there's no way around that.
No,
it's same thing like in your house. Now, I mean, some people may not take care of their houses that well, but you wouldn't want other people coming in your house and just leaving trash everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? You get pretty pissed off at them. And that's how we feel when we see trash everywhere at these places.
Yeah.
One, it's not a national park, but one of the places we love to go to, that's a highly kind of guarded place for us. I found an entire bag of trash, yay big, just sitting there.
I remember you told me about this. Yeah.
And it was like, and there's no one out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, who came out here and just left this?
Middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But like, it's the same thing with national parks. Why would you leave something like that out in a place that's supposed to be protected and reserved for the beauty of the outdoors?
Yeah.
And you're just trashing it.
Yep.
It's highly disrespectful.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we've all run into that, whether it's, the, tiny little wrappers or something like that, or like, a big bag of trash, or like I've been out in the mountains and I've found, like a big ripped up tarp just sitting in some bushes, and it doesn't look like it had, been there for a short period of time or anything, it's like, I don't know, like, you packed it in, pack it out. That's a phrase that a lot of people use, pack it in, pack it out. And it's I don't know, it's not that hard to me. You brought it in, so you can bring it out. So
yeah, but it's one of those things, and it's a very small thing.
Yeah.
But it's easy to overlook and just kind of, again, throw your wrapper down.
Yeah.
On the trail. It's like, just put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I hear a lot of people talk about how there's kind of this like shopping cart theory where, what you do with your shopping cart when you're done at a grocery store or something shows like how much integrity you have as a person. If you go put it in the, the gates or whatever, or if you just leave it about, it kind of speaks volumes to your integrity. It's kind of the same thing with trash. Cause like if you go out in the mountains and you bring, I don't know, a bunch of snacks or something, and you just leave your trash out there, nobody's going to see you. But just because nobody can see you doing that doesn't mean you should, and it just kind of speaks to your integrity.
Yeah.
So.
And you got to keep in mind too, these items, especially a lot of these different processed things, plastics, they don't just dissolve.
No. Yeah.
Or like they're not going to disappear anytime soon. They're going to stick around, just get buried, and it's not good for the environment.
Yeah. Nope.
And that's why it's up to us as individuals to kind of be stewards ourselves of protecting these places and doing our best to make sure that, one, we are obviously keeping up on our end of doing these things, but making sure other people know these same rules and hopefully follow them best they can too.
Yep.
The next area we're going to talk about is a little geared more towards the camping side of things. And that is making sure you take care of your campfires properly. This is a really big problem out west, especially in particular areas over some. But if you do not take care of your campfires, whether you're having illegal campfires out in places you shouldn't be, or you're not putting out campfires properly when you're done with it, you could easily start wildfires.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you think about places like California, extremely dry. I know Washington, Oregon have had bad fires the past couple of years as well. I read today, Glacier has at least one fire every year.
I read that today too, actually.
It's like, these places, they're going to burn at some point.
Yeah.
And we have to try our best to make sure that doesn't happen because of us.
Yeah. Utah's really bad too. I mean, the last couple of years have been pretty tame wildfire years, but I mean, we have had, I'm sure you can attest to this too, BDOTES, but we've had really bad wildfires in the past here.
Yeah. I mean, and we're lucky that our national parks are in the desert.
We don't get them in the national parks.
That doesn't really happen, but up in our mountains, it's the same. I mean, it goes for anywhere. Again, some of this stuff, all of this stuff is not just for national parks. We're talking about in the context of national parks, but it goes without saying that this applies to all outdoor places. Same thing applies, right? But if you're going out and having a campfire, you got to, make sure you're doing it in a place where you are allowed to do it, and that could look like making sure there's actually an established fire ring in a particular spot that you're in, or two, making sure that, there's signs in a lot of these places that say what the fire risk is. And if it's past a certain level, you can't have a fire.
Yep.
And you have to know these things. I think it's like a little Smokey the Bear sign, right? That has a little wheel.
It's like a wheel,
colored wheel, right? But you got to look for these things and know and be responsible enough to say, okay, fire risk is high, can't do it. It's just, sorry, it might suck. You might have really hoped to have a fire out in the place you're going to be, but you can't.
Yeah.
If it's a clear day, whatever, and the fire risk is low, there you go.
Yep.
But you got to make sure you have that. But when you're done with the fire too, you got to make sure you put it out properly. You got to douse the crap out of that. Throw a bunch of water on it, throw some dirt on it. Another great, do a little conjunction of that and make sure it is out. I think the common phrase is, if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave burning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So good rule of thumb now, don't go sticking your hand in a fire, testing it all the time.
Yeah.
But do your best to put it out and make sure it's out. I don't think it was last year. I think it was in 2022. There was, maybe it was last year. There was a fire right on the western side of the Oakers, I believe.
Yes.
And that fire was started because of that, I believe. It was because
think you're right,
there was a fire that some little group of guys was having, and they just didn't put it out properly. And then it spread and started raining ash over the whole Salt Lake Valley.
Yeah. It's funny. I was up at Lake Blanche while that was going on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I got some, it made for some cool pictures.
We don't even talk about how great of photos you got.
But yeah, it was quite the fire. Yeah. I forgot that it was started because of a campfire negligence.
Yeah.
So
you have to be careful when you go to these places because, again, a lot of these places are just primed to burn.
Yeah.
Whether that's because of drought or just the way the places naturally occurs. Again, glacier, they get about a fire every year just naturally. It's just the way it's going to be. But you have to make sure you're doing your best so you don't contribute to the problem.
Yeah.
Because you want to be the last person to have burned down the entire forest. Because I think of a park like Lassen National Park. I got to drive through there. And it looks like an amazing national park. I'd love to go back, but it definitely does not have the feel that you think it would because half of it's burned. And that happened from a fire, I think in 2021, I believe.
Right, yeah.
And it's one of the biggest fires I think there's been, at least recently. But it burned like half the park.
Yeah.
And so you're driving through, there's just burnt trees everywhere. And like, you don't want to be responsible for that.
No.
I mean, I'm not sure if there's liability issues there. There probably is to some degree.
Yeah. You'll definitely, I mean, if they figure out that it was you.
Figure out it was you, but
yeah. Then you're in trouble.
But man, you do not want to be the person that burned down a place.
Yeah. No.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind. You got to be responsible. Again, all these rules we're talking about are things you have to try to do your best to be responsible when you're outdoors, to enjoy these activities, these places in a responsible manner, and hopefully teach these principles to other people as well.
Yeah.
So they can do so too.
Yep.
All right. The next thing we're going to talk about when it comes to leave no trace is respecting the wildlife. Now, this is big, especially in certain parks, I feel, more than others.
Respect them by like petting them and like giving them hugs.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. No, of course, what we're talking about is making sure you give them plenty of space.
Yeah, don't touch them.
Don't touch the animals. You know, there's a whole Instagram page called Tourons of Yellowstone.
It's a great page.
If you just go to that page, you'll see exactly what not to do.
Yeah.
People getting close to bison and elk, you know, like, don't be one of those people.
Yeah, no, these are wild animals.
Yeah.
It's not a dog. It's not a domesticated animal.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want to have happen is for one of these things to just attack you because you have no understanding of how much bigger and stronger these things are than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was watching a little documentary the other day, and a male elk can be a half ton.
No, yeah, these things like weigh as much as cars.
Massive.
Yeah.
Right? You do not want to be on the receiving end of an elk headbutting you.
No, yeah.
Or, God forbid, a grizzly bear attacking you.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the best ways you can prevent those kinds of instances from happening is to simply give it space.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think I've read too, and correct me if I'm wrong, you may know best, but like if a bear, for instance, is coming up on the trail on you, I believe the protocol is to get off the trail and let it pass. You know, sure, get your phone out so you can get the awesome video of you being really close to it, but you got to be safe.
Yeah.
Like you can't provoke the bear. You got to just let it have its space, do its thing, because it doesn't want to have any part to do with you.
Yeah.
It just wants to move on its own.
Exactly.
So let it do that, get back on your trail and continue on.
Yeah. And that's like a lot of times if you're in a place like Tetons, for example, I know you've had experience like this with black bears, but in some places, particularly national parks, a lot of these animals are a little bit more accustomed to being close and around humans and stuff. So a lot of times, you know, you'll have these bears going up a trail and there's people on the trail. And they kind of get what people are, I think, you know, and so they just are kind of minding their own business. So don't like startle them. Don't freak out or anything. Just stay calm.
Yeah. Don't run.
Don't run. Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Just kind of stay calm.
Yeah.
Just back up slowly and give it space. You know, if it's a bear, especially get some bear spray out, just be ready for it, you know, in case, again, God forbid something happens.
Yeah.
But just give it space. Like you said, I would say probably 30 feet from black bear up in the Tetons, coming down on a trail. And, you know, we saw them from a little further away. They were down the slope and they were coming up towards us. And we kind of tell that they're trying to get up here. So we got past. And then we kind of just sat there and watched and let them do their thing. And they kind of just came towards us a little bit and then went away. But we were never in any danger, never felt like that because we gave them plenty of distance and just let them be.
Yeah.
You know, we're not trying to make noise, distract them, anything like that. It's just let the animals be animals.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's actually a the Park Service has put out kind of a guideline on how far you should try to be from it. I don't know if it's like 50 feet or 60, something like that.
Yes. And there's different ranges for different animals as well. And again, I'm saying 30 feet from this black bear. I don't know if that's within the safe distance or not. Yeah. But again, we were just stopped and this thing was coming towards us. Yeah. We weren't approaching it.
Yeah, there's a lot of times you can't help
the important distinction as well. You know, these animals, again, will do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to come your direction, they'll just come your direction. And you got to try to manage that the best you can.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think it's 25 yards for plant animals, plant eating animals, and 100 yards for predators.
100 yards. That's a good distance.
That is a good distance, yeah.
Again, and you're not always going to be able to keep that. Just going to be the way it is.
Yeah, it's a matter of not going within the 100 yards yourself.
Basically, just don't chase the thing within the 100 yards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, don't be dumb. A good rule of thumb, don't be dumb.
Yeah. And I think it's important to mention this too, because a lot of what we do has to do in the realm of photography. When looking at that Torrens of Yellowstone page, a lot of the people who are getting close to like bison and elk and different things like that, they're trying to do it for a picture.
Yeah, like a selfie.
Yeah, they're trying to take a selfie. They're trying to take a photo of it. And, you know, they don't have the proper equipment or anything to get like a close-up photo. So they're trying to just get themselves closer. Don't do that.
No.
No picture is worth you getting tossed by a buffalo.
I mean, it's one thing, like, if you are in your car on the road and the animal's right off the side of the road.
Oh, that's one thing, yeah.
Like, you can't necessarily help that because you're confined to the car in the road.
Yeah.
But don't get out of your car.
Yeah.
There's no need for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just get your quick photo with your phone, whatever you can get, and you'll be happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you want to try to get up close to a bison, turn your back on it to get a selfie, man, you got some balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something I would never do.
I don't even know if I would call that brave.
No, it's dumb. And that's the point. It's dumb. And the whole idea of this conversation is, again, when it comes to wildlife, especially, you have to be smart about these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like we're trying to talk about how to treat the parks and the people within the parks with respect, you have to treat the animals with respect too.
Mm-hmm.
This is their home, and we are coming into it. And we have to make sure we give them the space and respect that they deserve.
Yep, exactly. Doesn't matter how cute they look too. It's like that saying that you see, like, if friend shaped, why not friend or whatever it is.
Some of them are cute.
You know, like baby bears.
Baby bear.
Yeah.
I was watching some documentaries in national parks. I'm convinced. I think that baby bears are probably the cutest baby animals out there.
Did I tell you that Carly and I got to feed baby bears at Bear World in Idaho? It was the coolest experience.
Yeah.
They like put their little hand on you and they're like, they just like want to like be loved.
Great example. If you want to go be close to a bear, pet it, all that stuff, go to Bear World.
Go to Bear World. Yeah.
In Idaho.
Yeah.
If you're in the wild and you see a baby bear, get out of there.
Yeah.
Do not approach that.
No. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the thing is like even at Bear World, when we were feeding, you know, they have like a trainer right there next to you as you're bottle feeding these bears. And they are like sitting there monitoring everything because they're like, if one wrong move and these baby little bears that are no bigger than like a 25-pound dog will rip you to shreds.
Absolutely.
And like, you know, you see their claw, like their claws alone are bigger, you know, they're longer than my fingers and they're babies, you know? And that's one that's like raised next to humans and stuff like that. And that's not, I mean, it's still like a wild animal, but it's not raised in the wild. And that's in that case, you know, like like a wild bear, don't even mess with them.
Just give the animal space.
Yeah.
You know, do your best.
Yes.
Obviously, again, situations will come up. You may not be able to do so very easily. Just do your best. Be smart. Have bear spray on you just in case you're in bear country.
Yeah.
And don't be dumb.
Yep. And don't panic.
Again, best rule of thumb is just do not be dumb.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move into the last section of kind of what we have to talk about with regards to leave no trace. And it's kind of a broad thing, but there's a couple specific things we'll talk about. And that is to be considerate of others when you're out there. Again, this applies to national parks, any outdoor space, whether you're in the parking lots, visitor centers, trails, what have you. Just be considerate of others. Because, again, you are sharing these places with everyone else. You know, don't go making a whole bunch of noise, you know, yelling around with your buddies. You know, one big thing that a lot of outdoors people hate is when people play music on trails.
Yeah.
Like that bugs a lot of people. And you're going outside to these places, the whole point is to get away from stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you're coming here just to go blast all your music, well,
now you're just annoying everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like be respectful, turn the music off, and just enjoy being outside, whether it's in the silence or the natural sounds, the ambient noises. Like That's why you should be out there
Yeah.
to enjoy that stuff and
Yep.
not just to come, especially if it's like rap music, like obnoxious stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just put headphones in if you want music.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Don't blast it so everyone else can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But also just when you get to certain places, especially photo places and stuff like that, just be respectful. Allow people to have their own time and moments and stuff, and don't go into a place acting like you own the joint and you deserve to get your photo at a certain time. It's like, no, just be there with everyone else. And when that moment comes for you, you can have it, but it's one of the most important things because one, it's just a good, again, rule of thumb to be nice and kind to people. But also like, if you want them to return that to you at all, you have to show them that same level of respect.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. You can't just go in demanding it from everyone because they don't really care about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So show them that respect first and they'll show it back to you, hopefully.
Yeah. 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 I agree. And there is like, some people make arguments about, if you're in grizzly bear country and it's like, you kind of have to make noise and let like potential bears know that you're there. So a lot of people use that as an opportunity to listen to music. And like, if you have no bear bells or anything like that, then I get that. But like, there are other alternatives, So
yeah, but
there are cases where like it makes sense. Well, pretty much that only one case where it makes sense to listen to music while out hiking. But
there's also a difference between just playing it softly out of your phone enough to hear it and carrying a giant boombox up to a hot spring.
Exactly.
When I backpacked Red Castle last year, and that's a long hike.
Is
It's
it 20
miles round trip, so 10 miles one way. There was someone with the boombox going all the way up, and I was like, "What?
Dude.
You're carrying this in 10 miles? That's absurd."
That's wild.
I mean, I guess props to you. That's impressive. But
Also, who carries boom boxes nowadays?
I don't know, but obviously it's just some kind of speaker. But like, still, you're carrying the speaker 10 miles.
No, that's absurd.
That's just, you don't need to have that.
No. No.
But what you mentioned also brings me back to one of the ideas of when we do a lot of stuff, even here locally, because we do a lot of stuff either at sunrise or at sunset, where we are hiking in the dark, especially. We're in groups and we're talking a lot. And I'm almost never worried about wildlife encounters because of that.
Yeah.
Because one, we have numbers, and most animals will not approach you if you have numbers. But two, we're usually making some kind of noise. We're talking, chatting, making jokes, and that noise will help deter animals, or at least alert them to your presence.
Yeah. That's the key is
Right.
the alerting.
The thing is, you don't want to spook an animal, right? But as long as you are making enough noise to alert these animals to your presence, that you're in the area, now they're not going to be like, oh, I'm shocked. Now I'm going to attack you.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just a good way to be safe. Make some
Exactly.
kind of noise if you can.
Yep, exactly.
But again, that's in the context of being in the right scenario where you should do that. Otherwise, you should try to, keep somewhat quiet if you can.
Yep.
Because that's the general kind of thing to do for everyone else.
Yep,
in the
I
park,
agree.
Right? But I think the major issue with national parks that we want to talk about, and this gets more into the photography side of things, but also touches on this idea of being considerate to other people, is that you cannot fly drones in national parks.
Don't be
people.
one of these people, man.
I'm sorry, but you can't do it.
No.
And I can't tell you how many times I've been in national parks and I've heard the drone first.
Yeah.
And then I can locate it.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, people?
Dude, I have a story that I think you'll appreciate when about this. So Carly and I went up to Yellowstone this last year, and we're sitting by Old Faithful, ready for it to erupt, right? And you hear bzzz out in the distance, and I look up, I'm trying to find this drone, and all of a sudden it's just like right on top of the freaking geyser. I'm not even kidding, like 10 feet from the mouth of the geyser, this drone comes down. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope this thing goes off right now. It'd be amazing. It just blows this stinking drone out of the sky. I don't know where this person was, but I mean, there's hundreds of people there, and including park rangers, sitting and watching Old Faithful go off. I don't know. I hope this person got caught, but like the cojones you have to try to do that in a place like that,
Yeah, it's bizarre to me that people try this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming it comes from a lack of knowledge.
That's what I'm
of the rules.
Yeah, because I do know that whenever I've seen this happen, a lot of times it's somebody who's a foreigner. you know, like they come over, you know, they come over from, you say like Japan or something like that, and they're not familiar with like kind of customs in American national parks. That's usually when I see it, but not all the time. You know, you sometimes do. I don't know. It doesn't go both ways, I guess, or it can go all ways. But.
Yeah, but I'm assuming it's mostly from a lack of awareness of what the rules are. But this is a good time for us to at least touch on this. National parks are off limits. You cannot fly in them.
Yeah.
Now, there's some loopholes that you can kind of fly from the board. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But if you're in the national park, you cannot take off.
Yes.
You simply can't.
Yep.
It's against the rules. And again, we hate it when we see drones out there. One, because we love to drone.
Yeah.
But because we follow the rules, we get screwed.
Yeah, it kind of bugs us a little bit. Yeah.
Right? But you can't do it because, yes, I understand it can be frustrating. Oh, like, why can't I just fly here? But for all these people who do not like drones, when you fly in a place like a national park, you are only ruining the reputation further of all of us drone pilots who want to fly anywhere. But if you break this rule and the reputation gets bad enough, they're going to continue to limit where we can fly.
Yeah.
So take what they've given you, accept that you can't fly here, and go fly elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's important too to kind of touch on why some of these drone regulations in national parks exist, because it's not just because they're annoying,
but they are.
They are annoying, you know? Like if you're in a national park and it's quiet, you know, and you're kind of in a place of solitude and you hear that, you know, like it's
sounds of nature.
Yeah, right.
We always make that joke.
Yeah, it's awful, but I mean these rules exist for a reason, you know, mainly because of what they do to wildlife. You know, they affect the animals, the birds, and everything in the park. They find drones just as annoying as we do. So
yeah, well, you might crash into rocks. I mean,
yeah, lose a drone, try to go get it.
Yeah,
you know?
like there's a lot of problems that could arise if something happens, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
And again, I understand it can be frustrating. We get that. You don't need to explain that to us. We feel the same frustrations, but we follow the rules because it's the right thing to do. And it's the only way to try and get a lot of these people who hate drones off our backs. Yeah. Because if we follow that rule and we fly where you can legally, there's nothing they can say about that.
Yeah.
So just do that and accept you can't fly in all these magical places.
Yep.
Because again, we'd love to get those photos.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just gonna be the way it is. If we can't get them, no one can get them.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I like that.
Because if anyone deserves to fly there, it's me.
Yep. I agree. Well, what's you know, and it's not like you can never get those like aerial photos because a lot of these national parks have like helicopter tours. Well, mountains, but also like helicopter tours and things. Like there's ways to get them.
Yeah.
But ways that are through the appropriate channels than just flying a drone.
Yeah, and I think you can maybe apply for permits to some degree. I don't know if you...
Yeah, it depends.
But they're hard to get.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're going to try and fly, do the permit route. Go do that. But don't just pull it out of your bag when you get to the parking lot and fly.
Yeah.
That's not the responsible way to go about
exactly,
flying.
I actually forgot about the permit thing. So that is a good point to make, that there are some cases where you can fly in a national park, but only if you have the permission from the national park. And like you said, those permits are a lot of times really difficult to get.
You do not give yourself permission to fly in a national park.
Yeah.
You have to get that from the park.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And if you get that, kudos to you. I don't know if I know anyone who's ever gotten that. But
I don't know either. Yeah.
But again, point is, you cannot fly in national parks. It sucks, but it's the way it is.
Yep.
So please adhere to that rule.
Yeah.
Because with all these leave no trace principles, this definitely falls in that category of be respectful to everyone. Because we go out to these places assuming that we can get nice, peaceful, quiet areas, and then we hear the and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Did not come here for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I could have just gone in my backyard. I wanted that noise.
Yep.
Right. So, yeah, I think it kind of wraps up the whole conversation with no trace.
I think so. Yeah.
BDOTES, anything that we forgot you want to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Good conversation again. Please leave a comment if you have something else you'd like to add to the Leave No Trace conversation. How you should behave and act in these national parks, it's very important that we try and keep these places as pristine, be respectful towards them as we can.
I think we should just close all national parks to the public.
Especially Arches.
Especially Arches National Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. With that conversation being done, we are going to move in to a little game segment called Overrated, Underrated. Okay. Boys, I have a small list of national parks that we're going to go through.
Ooh.
And our job is to say whether we think they are overrated or underrated, kind of based on the general consensus of what these parks are like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did not choose any of these big name parks. You know, for instance, myself, if I put Tetons up there, I'm never going to say Tetons is overrated because I love the place.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it, right? So I chose some parks that are kind of middle of the pack-ish. You know, there's one park on this list for sure that is very popular. There's another one that's pretty popular, but there's two that are kind of, I would say, bottom half parks, you know, in people's minds, I'd say. Okay. And just to be clear, there is no fence sitting, Chandler. So if I give you a park, you have to choose overrated or underrated. There's no in between.
Gosh.
Okay. We deal in finites. Okay. We are like the Sith.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
Okay. The first park we're going to talk about is Channel Islands.
Oh.
Out in California, right off the coast. Okay. Now I picked this one, admittedly, because I just watched a documentary on it. And it kind of changed my mind about the park a little bit.
Which documentary did you watch? Because I may have watched the same one.
It was a Nat Geo one. I mean, I couldn't tell you.
Because they have like a national park series on Nat Geo.
I mean, it was on Disney Plus.
That's okay. We may have watched the same one then.
Yeah,
because I've recently watched all those too. But
okay,
yeah.
So you might have
yeah.
some similar opinions now.
I might,
okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
But Channel Islands. Now, this park, there's a little chain of islands out there. There's wildlife, and you can do some kayaking and stuff. And you have to take a boat to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like a neat park, but it's one of these parks that is just not really touted as an amazing park. I feel like it doesn't have the popularity as any of our Utah parks or Yosemite. You know,
any of the California parks.
It's easily not even top 10, top 20, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
There's too many parks off the top of my head to say where it could land after that. But I thought this would be a good one because, and I'll start, I think this park is very underrated now.
Mm-hmm.
Very underrated. And I kind of want to go, like, pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because I watched this documentary. I'm like, this place looks sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you could go out and do some kayaking on the ocean. Got some hikes and they got some cool wildlife out there. I'm like, this could be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. I'm definitely in the underrated camp on this because it seems like a really cool little park. So that's it. Like it seems like a really small little kind of obscure place. You know, it's just a random set of islands off the coast, but it's really, really cool. And yeah, like the wildlife is neat. I don't know. It just seems like a really cool place.
Yeah. You know, and I don't know how many days you would need to go do it all, but I think for what it's worth with those expectations in mind, like give me 2 days, 3 days, I think I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
Could be cool. BDOTES?
I think compared to the other ocean national parks, I think it's probably one of the top ones of those.
Really? Have you been?
No.
Okay.
But when I was filling out my little Parks Madness bracket, I have a little coffee table national park book, so I was kind of reading about it.
Oh, doing research.
Yeah. There's some cool little caves that you can kayak into.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just,
I feel like compared to like dry Tortugas, I feel like this might have more stuff to do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying underrated. Channel
Underrated,
Islands. Okay.
yeah.
Now this is not on my list, but dry Tortugas.
I don't even know how you rate that because it's kind of,
You got to choose overrated,
know.
underrated.
I mean, the fact that it's a national park means it's overrated. So
Oh, that's kind of bold,
That's my
honestly.
opinion,
I mean, just because it's a national park, you're saying it's overrated?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
don't get me wrong. Like it kind of suffers from the same, like we've talked about Gateway Arch a lot, but it kind of suffers from a little bit of the same Gateway Arch kind of thing where it's like, it's a cool place and I think it'd be cool for it to be like a national monument or something, but I just don't.
Sure.
That's kind of my opinion of it.
But I think half the point of there is to do the stuff in the water, like snorkeling and scuba and stuff.
Is it? Maybe I just don't know as much about.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would say it's underrated. Now, by much, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I would put it like Arches, where you can go once and you'd be good.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if it'd be a repeatable one, but
Sure.
It looks cool, but I don't know. I think maybe it's a little.
You don't
overrated,
strike me
but
as a water person
I'm
necessarily
not.
either, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be kind of funny seeing him with like the orange little life vest.
I mean, can you
trying to
even swim, bro? Like,
No.
yeah, I didn't
Actually,
think so.
the real talk. I mean, I'm not a great swimmer. Real talk. I'm not very good at swimming. So
I mean, I don't blame you. You live in Utah. There's no water
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you have no reason to swim.
I didn't really grow up swimming. Like I took swimming lessons when I was a kid, but it was in southern Utah. Where do you swim in southern Utah?
That's
You know?
I mean, pretty much only Lake Powell feels like.
Yeah. Well, I guess there are Quail Lake and Sand Hall. There's a few
Yeah.
places, but that's besides
Still
the point.
limited though.
Exactly.
So, okay. Well, we've learned one thing: Chandler can't swim well.
Chandler can't swim. That's right.
Good to know.
Yep.
So, BDOTES, looks like you and me are going to be the people doing the water
Great.
parks together.
Yep.
That's fine. I'll fly my drone there. Just look at it.
There we go. There we go. Okay. The next one on my list, we're going to go to Texas. We're going to do Guadalupe Mountains.
Ooh.
Overrated, underrated.
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 Yep.
Okay, BDOTES, why is that?
I've just heard things.
Ooh,
I've heard it's.
things.
I've heard
Through
it's
the
like
grapevine.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Sorry for the hard break there. We had a weird camera issue.
Yeah.
I blame Chandler. It's your
It was my
it's
camera.
your
yeah.
camera, so it's
Weird.
his fault. But we were talking about Guadalupe Mountains,
Yes.
and BDOTES, I believe, left it on you. You
Yep.
said underrated. Why is that?
Yeah. I've heard it's a pretty decent little mountain range. Like it's pretty dry, but I've heard it's got some cool views.
Like your sense of humor, or
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I would say underrated too. I was
Mhm.
actually looking at the potential of going and making a trip down to that area last year for a short bit just to go see it because I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think there's at least a handful of good photo opportunities and it looks like some good hiking or backpacking.
Yeah.
Even.
Like I think I would go check out Guadalupe Mountains over Channel Islands.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think more the mountain kind of bias,
Yeah.
maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree. I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
Chandler?
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't really know a lot about Guadalupe, but in looking at photos and stuff, for research for like Park Madness and stuff like that, Guadalupe and even Big Bend, like they both look really cool, and they're just kind of tucked away in the corner. Nobody really goes to them, and I don't know. I think they're really cool looking.
I mean, okay, first I need to ask, you guys were doing research for Park Madness?
Well, so when I say research, I mean like my research is like trying to find photos for the Instagram page and stuff like that. So
Okay.
My research was finding photos in the book for my wife to choose.
Ah, there we go.
there was a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, from
Okay.
my wife. Yeah.
Okay, see, I don't have a wife, so
Yeah.
it's different.
Well,
Okay, so we're all in agreement there, and I'm going to throw another little curveball out here. This is not on my list, but would you rather go see that or Carlsbad because they're really close?
I would probably rather go. I don't know, because Carlsbad actually looks really cool. But I think I'd rather go see Guadalupe. So
Yeah.
I'd rather see Carlsbad.
See, Carlsbad to me is one of those one and done.
yeah,
Probably not going back. I'd like
That's
to
what
see
I-
it.
that's what
I'd
I
like to
think.
see it, but I'm probably not going back.
yeah,
Just the way I feel about that.
It's one of the few cave national parks.
I think it'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, it's like you said. I don't think it's like I need to go back to this over and over again.
Yeah.
So
But I think I put Guadalupe over it too.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. Another good one. All right. So we have two more here. We're going to go through for overrated, underrated. Again, you have to choose one or the other. No fence sitting, Chandler. You've been doing a good job this round. I will give you that.
Thank you. I'm practicing.
There's
Practicing on
no
being
like,
decisive.
oh, I don't know.
I'm
but-
very like. I can find both sides to arguments very easy.
Yeah, well, that's not
So,
great quality.
Yeah, not really.
This next one is a little bit of a soft spot for me with this park because I had a great experience there. That's Hawaii volcanoes. Overrated, underrated. You must pick one. And I know exactly what I'll say, but I want to hear you guys first.
I mean,
Because I think I'm the only one who's been there, right? You haven't been there?
I haven't been there. I mean,
See, this one I feel is tougher.
yeah, it is a little bit because like it has this, I don't know, mystique to it of
Absolutely.
like being a volcano park.
And especially erupting volcanoes.
erupting volcano
Yeah,
park.
right.
But I think, excuse me, maybe the problem, not the problem with the park, but kind of the issue with this decision is those volcanoes aren't always erupting, at least as far as I'm aware.
I mean, Kilauea. I mean, honestly, because one of these documentaries was about Hawaii volcanoes as well, and I want to say it may have been Kilauea.
Mm.
It's like one of the most active volcano in the world.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like it's.
Okay.
I mean,
No, actually, that is.
for the
I do know
longest
that.
time, Kilauea was going off just all the time.
Yeah, I do. Actually, you're right. No, I have. I mean, because I see videos periodically of like lava flows taking out roads and stuff, and so no, you're right.
I think what you're thinking is from Mauna Loa.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
The really
of.
tall, kind of mountainous
Yeah.
volcano that's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like very active.
Yeah. Well, with that, in that case, I would say underrated because I mean, nobody really goes there. I would love to see a volcano, and when you went there,
It was epic.
you had an epic time. I mean, you FaceTimed me at 1 in the morning
awesome.
to show me this volcano.
Yeah, it was sick.
I guess it wasn't 1 in the morning for you.
It's one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
BDOTES?
I'd say underrated too.
Underrated.
I think a lot of people just associate Haleakala with Hawaii. Are they the same?
No, they're different
they're
parks,
different,
but
yeah.
I would almost disagree with that, I feel like.
That's what I would think. Yeah.
I think, because I had never really heard of Hawaii volcanoes until you went there.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I've heard from you, I think it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Again, one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life to see an erupting volcano, which is why when I tell you it's overrated, that might blow your mind.
I feel like I know why you're going to say it's overrated because I think we've had this conversation, but continue.
No, I think the park is overrated. And again, I'm saying it's really cool.
Mm.
The point I want to make sure people understand is I just feel like there's not really as much else to do there besides see the volcano.
Yeah.
And you're not really close, especially to Kilauea.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really close to it at all.
Yeah.
So like during the day, I mean, there's one cool little like kind of rainforesty little thing you can go do. Get into a little lava tube, which was neat.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another cool little volcanic crater area you get down into, and you kind of hike through the rainforest there too. But like, you drive outside that. I mean, it's cool. It's like a lava field and everything, but like, I mean, it's just not the same to me. It just felt kind of barren and still cooler than Arches. Yeah. But
you'd rather do Haleakala.
100%. I mean, Haleakala for me is like top 10. I don't know exactly where it is. It used to be top 5, maybe slightly out now. But
yeah,
I mean, Haleakala, in my opinion, is so much better.
Yeah. I remember because when you got back from that trip, you were way more excited about Haleakala than Hawaii volcanoes. So.
Again, I'm not saying to see the erupting volcano is cool. I'm just saying the park as a whole, I think is overrated.
That's a good point. You may have, here's the fence sitting again.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, Mauna Loa is seeing that erupt be cool too. But I mean, when it was erupting, they shut down a lot.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Because that just gets dangerous because that's where the huge lava flows come and will cover a lot of the area. But yeah. I think as a park, it's just overrated.
Interesting.
That's how I feel.
I don't want to. I'm doing the fence sitting thing again, but I can see your side.
I think my issue is if I went and saw it, like I might change my mind too.
Yeah,
but it's hard to know without having been there.
It's a little hard to describe, like what I'm trying to say, or like
I get it.
So you can kind of see what I got to see, because a lot of the driving around, it's just like barren lava rock. Yeah, and there's just nothing really.
Which is like we have that here.
Yeah, I mean, you can do some hiking on it, but like, honestly, I don't really want to go hiking on that midday.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to be so hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Just me. It's overrated.
I can see that.
Even though I had a great experience.
Yeah. I can see that. I think I'll stick with underrated just because, but like you said, because I haven't seen it, I imagine like once I see it and have, a similar experience to you, I might change my tune on that. But
yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay. We're going to end overrated, underrated on a little bit of a home note. I told you guys before this episode, there's one Utah park in here, and it's not Arches because we all know that's overrated. Not even a question. So that is 4 parks in Utah that we have to choose from between overrated and underrated. Mm-hmm. And I'm throwing out Bryce Canyon.
Okay.
Is it overrated or underrated?
I have some thoughts on this. I love Bryce Canyon, and I would love to go spend more time at Bryce Canyon. Every time I've been, I've had a great experience. I think it's an incredible park. I think it's I don't know. It's really hard to rank all that. My rankings of the Utah park changes like every, 30 seconds, but it's It's definitely one of the cooler ones. All of them are really cool. It's in 4th place, but it's like it's very much above Arches, which is my 5th place.
As it should be.
As it should be. But am going to say overrated. And the reason I say overrated is because of the amount of people that go there to experience it. I think it's an incredible place, for sure. But the amount of people that go to see it makes me like, okay, so it's cool, but like, there's Canyonlands, there's Zion, you know, like there's all these other places to go see. And I don't know, people love Bryce Canyon though. Yeah. Like for Christmas, I did a sale for prints, and I had several people, every single person who bought prints from me bought a Bryce Canyon print. And everybody just wants Bryce Canyon photos. So I don't know, people love it. I think it's a little overrated, but
it is a cool place.
Doesn't mean it's not a cool place.
It is a cool place. BDOTES?
See, this is hard.
It is hard.
I needed this to be harder for you because this is your favorite.
Right.
I forgot it's your favorite.
So I think I would probably lean toward a little bit overrated, but just because I wouldn't make it just a solo destination.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to go to Bryce Canyon, you might as well go to Zion too, because they're close to each other.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't change that it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Just because it's so unique.
I thought you came and go underrated on it.
Yeah.
Hard, man. It's really hard.
No, and that's why we play the game.
Yeah.
You know, to test our sense of will and passion.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go overrated too. You know, I just think, and we've talked about it before many times, but I just don't think there's enough to do to warrant a, you know, like you kind of said, a long weekend trip, even just tough. But the people is another aspect as well.
I think the majority, they just go stand at the edge and just look down. And I think that's also where, you know, people like us might have different opinions of some of these places, is because we're not looking to just do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where the tourists flying in from the East Coast, they're happy with that because that's kind of just all they know. They're not trying to do 10 miles of hiking on a vacation. They just want to go see a cool place, and they get the gist of it from Sunset Point.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's overrated for those reasons too.
Yeah.
So
I do want to do the Under the Rim Trail though.
That would be cool.
Would be cool.
That would be cool. I want to do that horseback trail that you did.
It was cool. Just don't get Sheila.
Yeah.
Sheila will kill you.
Or almost kill me.
Almost kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't have a lot of giddy up in her.
Yeah.
So.
Dang it, Sheila.
But I was thinking we'd get a little underrated action from you, BDOTES. But
that's right.
We had a lot more agreement on these places than I thought we would.
Yeah.
But the Hawaii Volcanoes ones, I think I got you guys on.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's overrated.
Yeah.
It's overrated. You'll be happy you went, but
that's my thing. I kind of had a hard time with that because I feel like just because of my limited opinion and because I know like what you experienced there, I feel like it would be underrated. But also knowing from your experience and the way that you talked about it to me, it makes sense that you said overrated. Yeah. So I don't know. It goes back and forth, I guess.
Okay. Well, that ends this segment of overrated, underrated. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have opinions of your own, please be sure to share them in the comments below. We'd love to hear them, especially if you have some staunch disagreements with any of us.
And none of these you can't say that these places are properly rated because that is fence sitting. And we don't like
you
that
can't pull a Chandler.
Nope.
Okay?
Nope.
All right, we're going to move into the last part of our episode. If you follow along every week, you will know that we add a new item to the back of our table, a little keepsake, memory, a little gadget, what have you, just to kind of, have some fun, build a little community. If you'd like to send us an item, we'd be more than happy to put it up here. Just let us know. We'll give you a little shout out on the show. Be happy to do so. Okay? Today, BDOTES, you have an item for us. What you got?
I sure do. I have another addition to the Bushwhacker library.
Ooh, the bookshelf. Get an upgrade.
Love this.
A couple of years ago, we went to Zion National Park in December, which is a prime time to go. And I got this Campfire Stories of the National Parks.
Oh, cool.
Which I think the title's a little misleading because it's more like a collection of like poems and stuff that these people researched and found. So it's not really like spooky campfire stories.
Gotcha.
But it's still cool to read.
Did you not preview it before you bought it?
It was hard. I'll let you look at it and see what you think.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Here's the
that is a cool addition, though.
That is cool.
Yeah. Sweet.
Very, very
And I have the second edition upstairs as well.
And to be clear, that is not just Zion, that it's all national parks.
No, it's all of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, not all of them. There's like,
sure.
I think it's Rocky Mountain.
They don't have
Yosemite.
Gateway Arch because no one cares
They don't
about
have
that
Gateway
one.
There's
Arch.
no campfire stories happening.
There's no
there,
poem that's ever been written about Gateway
No.
Arch.
Yeah.
Just a decree that presidents cannot go into it.
Yeah.
Acadia.
We should expand that to all
Mountains.
people.
Yeah.
Cool. I
That's
like
cool.
that.
I
That'd
like
be a good addition to the table. Thank you, BDOTES, for that. And with that, we will transition to the end of our episode here. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and leave comments. We love comments. We love to interact with all of you. And if you're listening to the audio-only version, we're on all major podcasting platforms, so please find us there. Leave a 5-star review if you would. And we will see you guys next time.
Later.